everyone, welcome back. We're on day 2 of our algebra proofs, and the main thing about these proofs is we really need to dive in to remembering how to solve, okay? How are we solving these equations? And then we can think of our reasons. So let's make just a little note on the side. So we've got addition property, which just means whatever, if we add on one side, we add the same thing to the other. We have subtraction property of equality. So property of equality. And then we have division. So that's how we get to move things from one side of the equation to the other. You have to do the opposite to the other side. And then we have multiplication. And then another one that we might use is distributive property. So if you see a parentheses, you need to be thinking distributive property. And then we also might use some other math facts. So the first thing we need to do is write down the equation. So I'm going to just focus on the statements, and then we can focus on the reasons after. Okay, so first we have the given. They gave us this, so we write down the given first. Then we have to think, okay, I want to move the 2y over, so how on earth do I want to move the 2y? So what is the opposite of adding? Well, it's going to be subtracting. 3 minus 2y is y minus 18 equals 2. Then I'm going to move the negative 18 over. And how do I do that? By adding. So that means 2 plus 18 would become 20. So that was a pretty quick proof. So first I had the given. And then I used the subtraction property. And then I used the subtraction property again. And then that was my given. Okay? All right, so let's try to go to the next one. So again, making that plan. So first, I'm going to write the statements and then the reasons on how I got there. Let me do it back and forth this time, so then you guys have both examples. So first, I'm going to write down the given. That's the reason. And again, what is my end game? My end game is I want x equals 4. That's my end game. So how do I get there? Okay, so first I'm going to use the distributive property and rewrite everything else. So 9x minus 9, and you're going to write distributive property. Okay, and then I'm going to then go from here. I'm going to actually move the 3 over. Okay, I'm going to move the 3. Or actually, let's deal with the x's first. So again, when you get to this point, game plan. You got to figure out, how am I going to get from one step to another? Okay? Just like in life. How do I get from one foot in front of the other? Let's get it going. All right, so I have a positive 9x. I'm going to make it negative. So I have negative 3x plus 3 equals negative 9. So that's the subtraction property. Okay? And then the same thing, same song and dance. When I subtract 3 to both sides, so negative 3x equals negative 12, that's also the sub property. Okay, when I do those parentheses, those quotes, that just means it's the one from before. And then what is my last step? How am I going to get negative 3x minus negative 12 equals negative 12 to x equals 4? Well, what's opposite of multiplying? Dividing. So I'm going to divide to both sides. So that is division property. So you write down how you got to the next step. So I wrote the given. How do I get to this step? By doing the distributive property. How do I get to this step? By subtracting. How do I get to this step? Again, subtracting. And the final step, how do I get from here to this part of the proof to this part? By dividing. All right? All right, only one more, and there's a little bit more to chew on for this. So again, my end game is m equals 11. How do I get there? Okay, sometimes it takes less steps. As long as you get to the end game, we are good to go. Okay, so first I start with the given, and then I'm going to do distributive property because I want to get rid of those parentheses. So 3m plus 9, and that's distributive property. Okay, then I'm going to drop everything else down. All right, so this next step I didn't write before, but we can call this a math fact, or you can also call it combining like terms. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, do I see anything in common, like terms? Well, I have a 3m and a negative 2m, which is an m. So m plus 9, and then drop everything else down. So every time I'm completing one math calculation and dropping all the other information down. So I can't do everything at once, okay? I can't wash all 10 dishes at once, okay, unless there's a dishwasher, right? I have to wash one dish at a time. Same thing with an equation. I have to do one thing at a time, all right? So given, distributive property, math fact. All right, now I can keep moving. So do we want to move the 2m or the 9? It's up to you. As long as you explain the reason, we're good to go. If it gets easier, that's the whole point. So if it's positive 2m, I make it negative 2m, and I get negative m, drop everything else down. All right, what did I do? Well, this was a positive 2m. I subtracted it. So that's the subtraction property of equality. Okay, again, I'm going to do the same thing with subtraction property, because what do I need to move over? I need to move the 9 over. So I have negative m equals negative 2 minus 9 is negative 11. Okay, m is not done yet because I didn't get 11. So I'm actually going to divide negative 1 to both sides and get m equals 11. What did I do? I did division property. Okay, so given, distributive property, math fact, subtraction property, and division property. All right, so thanks so much for joining me on day 2. Make sure you looked at day 1 and look at all of your properties. You have distributive, math facts, you have the symmetric property, and you have these 4 properties to help you out with. All right, have a great day, Huskies.